A warning before you listen.
What you are about to hear is not meant for children, nor for the faint of heart. This is an unfiltered retelling of ancient myths, told as they were born, raw, violent, unsoftened. Expect scenes of brutality, curses that linger, betrayals that reshape fate, and a hunger for power that shows no mercy. These myths were never meant to lull children to sleep. They were forged in blood, shadow, and fire. So ask yourself, are you ready to hear them as they were first told? Sources and references can be found in the episode description.
Chapter 6. From the Epic, the Uprising. From the cave to the edge of war. The sun who grew. The meeting between Rhea and Zeus. The mountain wasn't ready, nor was the earth prepared to echo the scream that had been trapped inside a heart for centuries. Even the air held its breath, as if time itself whispered, "Not now. This moment is sacred." Zeus was walking forward, not as a child returning to his mother, but as a force emerging from absence, with a blade of lightning in his hand and a question in his chest that refused to be spoken. Inside him, a quiet voice stirred, a voice without thunder, a voice that asked, timidly, "Will she recognize me?" And Rhea? She was waiting, but she didn't know who would come. Would it be her son, or a phantom shaped by lightning and distance? Would he embrace her, or put her on trial? Would he call her mother, or say, "You're the one who left me"? Zeus reached her. He didn't speak. He simply stood. His body was shadow, his silence a verdict. Rhea looked at him the way the earth looks at the sun when it returns after too long. She stared at his features, and in them she saw Cronus, the same jaw, the same eyes that never showed mercy. But she also saw something else. She saw herself, the fear she carried when she handed him to the mountain, the regret stretching across his gaze, the fire she left inside him, now grown and burning. She raised her hand, then hesitated, and finally, in a voice she hadn't used in years, she whispered, "Is it you?" And Zeus answered, not as a boy, but as someone who had broken chains. "You're the one who hid me. Don't you recognize your own face?" His words weren't gentle, but they weren't cruel. They were the kind of words that cut only to let the healing begin. Rhea wept, not because she saw her son, but because, in him, she saw herself. She saw how time had changed. She said, "Every night I counted the seconds, so you wouldn't forget my voice." He replied, "I didn't forget, but I feared I might." He asked, "How did you know it was me?" She answered, "Because my heart gave birth to only one like you." He asked again, "Why didn't you come to find me?" She said, "Because the wind reached you before I could." This wasn't a reunion. It was a reckoning. She wasn't a mother begging for forgiveness. And he wasn't a child seeking explanation. Both of them knew. What was lost would never return. But what could be built must begin with truth. Zeus touched her hand. For the first time, his fingers were cold, but alive. And Rhea couldn't speak, but her eyes said everything. "You are the last regret that gave birth to life." He smiled, not a warm smile, a sharp one, the kind that says, "I am here, not to return, but to begin." Then he asked, "Mother, will you stand with me?" And Rhea looked at him, as if lightning had entered her eyes, and she said, "I never left you. I only waited until you were grown enough to lead me." So this was no longer a son meeting his mother. It was a leader facing his regret, a rebel confronting his wound, a flame returning to the hand that first lit it. This was Zeus, not coming home, but coming for what was his. A storm, finally aware of who struck the first spark and who would feel the first thunder. This chapter of the epic has come to an end, but remember, what you've just heard is not a record of facts, but the echo of a myth, a story born from the imagination of the ancients, etched into the long memory of humankind. If this tale stirred something in you, if it opened a door to reflection or wonder, don't forget to support the channel and share the journey with those you love. And in the comments, tell us which moment in this chapter struck you the most and why. We'll meet again in the next chapter of this audio odyssey through time. Until then, farewell.